Alan Watts tried to warn us, not like a preacher, not like a guru, but like a friend, laughing at how seriously we take this costume we call me. He didn't come here to hand out answers. He came here to pull the rug out from under the questions. Because the moment you realize you were never just a character, the drama starts to feel different. The fear loosens. The urgency melts. You stop clinging so hard to the mask you built to survive school, family, society, identity, all of it. You begin to notice the joke. You were the ocean pretending to be a single wave, and you believe the act so well you forgot you wrote it. That's why you're here. This audiobook has the power to dissolve the version of you built from fear, labels, and habit, and let the real thing breathe. Before we roll in, drop where you're listening from, and comment. I see through it. And if you're new here, subscribe to the channel as you'll fit right in here. Now, take a breath. Let your identity soften at the edges. And let's get into it. Are you living your life? Or is life living you? You answer that question not with words, but with a tightness in your chest on a Sunday evening. You answer it with the ghostly feeling you are playing a part in a play where someone else wrote the script. A man tried to hand you a new script. A man with a voice like chuckling thunder and a mind that danced with galaxies. His name was Alan Watts. Alan Watts tried to tell us the secret we are chasing is not out there, but in here. That the self you are trying to improve is a magnificent illusion. He spoke of a universe that is not a cold, mechanical void, but a playful, spontaneous, and deeply intelligent process. And you are not a lonely speck inside it. You are its very expression. He poured this message into books and lectures that captivated thousands. And most people missed it. They heard the words, but they did not hear them. The message did not fall on deaf ears, but on ears too full of other things to let the real meaning take root. This book is for those ready to empty their ears. It is for the one who senses there is a joke everyone else is laughing at, and they are tired of not being in on it. It is for the person weary of seeking, ready to begin finding. What you are about to experience is an invitation to step out of the audience and onto the stage of a cosmic drama, where you have always been the main character. You just forgot your lines. So, if you are ready, take a deep breath. The person who started listening is already beginning to fade. The person who finishes this journey will be someone entirely new, and yet more familiar than you can possibly imagine. Let us begin. Chapter 1. The Cosmic Joke You Were Never Told. Have you ever felt life is a joke, and everyone is in on the punchline except you? That subtle, nagging sensation. There is a secret handshake, a hidden rulebook, and you were absent the day they passed it out. You look at people navigating their lives with a sense of purpose that, for you, feels like a coat that does not quite fit. You wear it, but there is a constant whisper. Is this really it, my friend? That whisper is not your enemy. It is the most important sound you will ever hear. It is the sound of your own soul beginning to stir from a long sleep. It is the beginning of remembering the cosmic joke. And Alan Watts was the master comedian trying to give you the setup. He called it a joke because a joke, at its best, has a punchline that rearranges your perception. It takes the logic you were holding so tightly, turns it on its head, and in a flash, you see everything differently. The anxiety vanishes, replaced by the laughter of sudden understanding. That is what this is about. You believe you are a separate self, a fragile island of consciousness inside a bag of skin, looking out at a foreign and often threatening world. You believe you were born into this universe and will one day be plucked out of it. Your entire life, with all its striving and fears, is built upon this story of the separate self. But what if the story is wrong? What if it is the grandest, most universally believed misconception of all time? Alan Watts tried to tell us this is precisely the case. He said, "You were not born into this world. You were born out of it. Just as an apple grows from an apple tree. Think of a wave in the ocean. The wave has a beginning, a crest, and then it subsides. If that wave developed a sense of self, it might feel important and afraid. I must maintain my form. I can feel myself sinking. This is my end." The wave is so preoccupied with its temporary form, it misses the fact it is, and always has been, the entire ocean. This is the cosmic joke. You have been so busy being the wave, you forgot you are the ocean. You have been identified with the content of your experience, your thoughts, your feelings, that you have overlooked the context, the vast, silent, aware space in which all of it is happening. Directly address the listener now. I am speaking to you. The tension you carry, the anxiety about the future, the yearning for something more, it is all based on this single, simple mistake of identity. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the ocean, pretending to be a drop. The moment you truly get the joke, the entire game changes. The struggle loses its meaning. You begin to live, not as a problem to be solved, but as a mystery to be enjoyed. Chapter 2. The Unbearable Weight of the False Self. There is a burden you have carried for so long. You have forgotten what it feels like to put it down. It is the weight of your own autobiography, the story of who you are, what you have achieved, what you have lost, and who you are supposed to become. This story is a useful tool, a narrative that helps you navigate the world. But you have made a catastrophic error. You have mistaken the map for the territory. You have come to believe you are the story. Alan Watts called this the skin-encapsulated ego. It is the feeling of being a tiny, separate pilot locked inside a bone helmet, peering out at a dangerous world. This is the false self, and it is this self that carries an unbearable weight. It is constantly on trial, needing to prove its worth, defending its borders, and seeking validation. It is a temporary, fleeting phenomenon, and to ask it to provide permanent security is like asking a candle flame to burn forever. Think of the energy you expend every single day maintaining this character. The carefully curated social media posts, the need to be right, the fear of looking foolish, the desperate clinging to relationships that have run their course. This is the exhausting work of the false self. It is a full-time job with no vacations, and the pay is paid in the counterfeit currency of anxiety. The person who is listening right now knows this weight intimately. You feel it in the tightness of your jaw in traffic. You feel it in the pit of your stomach before a difficult conversation. You have been trying to solve this problem by improving the character. You read self-help books to become a better you. You go to therapy to fix the story. And while these things can bring relief, they often just polish the prison bars. You are still in the story, just trying to edit it. Alan Watts tried to tell us that the solution is not to improve the false self, but to see through its illusion entirely. He was not interested in giving you a more comfortable ego. He was interested in showing you that you are the vast space in which the entire drama arises and falls away. Let me speak to you directly now. The weight you feel is real. But what if I told you that you are not the one carrying it? What if I told you that the you that feels burdened is itself the burden? This is the great paradox. The moment you stop trying to carry the self is revealed to have never been a substantial thing to carry. It was a collection of thoughts gathered around a central idea of me. And when you look for this me directly, you find open, luminous awareness. You find the space, not the object. This is an invitation to perform your life as a dance rather than a burden. When you dance, you are not carrying the dance. The dance is carrying you. When you see through the false self, life begins to live you. The weight is lifted not by you, but from you. Chapter 3. Why you cannot catch your own shadow. You have spent a lifetime trying to solve yourself. You have analyzed your past, planned your future, and set goals for self-improvement. It is a noble endeavor, but it has one fundamental flaw. It is like trying to catch your own shadow. The faster you run after it, the faster it runs away. If you were to suddenly turn and pounce, you would find nothing there at all. Alan Watts delighted in this metaphor. He saw in it the perfect illustration of the human dilemma. The person who is seeking enlightenment, peace, or God is, by the very nature of the seeking, confirming the existence of a seeker who is separate from the thing being sought. This seeker is the shadow. It is the false self, and its entire existence is dependent on the pursuit. If the pursuit were to ever end, the seeker would vanish. Think about it. When you say, "I want to find peace," who is the I that wants peace? It is an I that is, by its very definition, not peaceful. It is a tense, seeking entity. If peace were to actually arrive, this seeking I would have to dissolve. It is terrified of this. So it sets up a seeking process that is infinite, a journey with no real destination. The listener, the one who is hearing these words, is likely caught in this trap. You may be seeking a profound spiritual experience, but listen closely. The very mind that wants the breakthrough is the same mind that is in the way. It is like an eye trying to see itself. You cannot objectify the subject. So, what is the way out? Alan Watts did not offer a new technique for catching the shadow. He offered a radical shift in perspective. He suggested that you stop chasing altogether. He invited you to simply turn around and look at what is already, always here. The seeker is a phantom. The peace you are searching for is the very awareness in which the seeking is happening. You are not going to find peace. You must realize that you are peace. Directly address the listener now. I want you to try something, right now. Stop trying to understand these words. Stop trying to get something from them. Just for a moment, let go of the entire project of self-improvement. Feel the weight of your body. Listen to the sounds around you without labeling them. Notice the breath moving in and out, all by itself. In this simple noticing, where is the seeker? For a fleeting second, it is absent. And in that absence, what is here? Is it not a simple, effortless being? This is not something you achieve. It is something you fall into when you stop trying to stand on your own shoulders. The treasure you seek is not at the end of the search. It is what has been silently, patiently funding the entire journey. Chapter 4. The universe is not a machine. It is a grand symphony. Close your eyes and picture the universe. What do you see? For most of us, it is a vast, cold, black emptiness, dotted with impersonal stars, all governed by mechanical laws. In this view, you are a random accident, a brief flicker in an uncaring void. It is a depressing picture that breeds alienation and loneliness. Alan Watts tried to tell us this model is not only emotionally barren, it is outdated. The universe is not a giant clockwork. It is something far more mysterious and alive. It is a grand, spontaneous, and breathtakingly beautiful symphony. Think of a symphony. It is not a random collection of noises. It is an ordered, harmonious, and evolving process. It has a structure. But within that structure, there is immense freedom and creativity. The violins do not cause the cellos to play. The entire piece emerges from a central intelligence. Each note is unique and essential, and its meaning comes from its relationship to the whole. This, Watts proposed, is a far better model for reality. You are not a separate cog in a machine. You are a note in a cosmic symphony. Your life is a vital part of the music, the tree outside your window, the cloud in the sky, the star at the edge of the galaxy. They are all notes in this same unfathomable composition. The universe is playing itself. It is singing itself into existence. The person who is listening to this is a unique vibration in this symphony. Your thoughts are part of the music. Your feelings are part of the music. There is no separate you listening from the audience. You are the symphony listening to itself. This is a direct description of reality as seen by the mystics in quantum physics. The observer and the observed are one. Let me speak to you directly. That feeling of separateness, of being a lonely self in an impersonal machine, is the great hypnosis of our age. It is the source of your deepest pain. But it is an illusion. You are not in the universe. The universe is in you. The same force that sculpts the galaxies is beating your heart. The same intelligence that orchestrates the seasons is breathing your lungs. When you feel the wind, it is the universe feeling itself. When you gaze at the night sky and wonder, it is the universe awakening to its own majesty. When you begin to feel this, your entire life transforms. Your problems do not disappear, but they are relativized. They become passing motifs in a much larger piece of music. The pressure to figure it all out lessens. You begin to trust the process. You begin to dance with the music. You realize that Alan Watts was inviting you to hear the music that has been playing since the beginning of time. The music that you have always been. Chapter 5. The Trap of Spiritual Materialism. There is a treacherous turn on the path to understanding. A trap so subtle it ensnares nearly every sincere seeker. It is the trap of spiritual materialism. This is the tendency of the ego to take the pursuit of enlightenment and turn it into its own personal project, its newest and most sophisticated acquisition. It is the shadow pretending to be the light. You see this everywhere. It is the person who collects gurus like stamps. It is the individual who wears their spirituality as a badge of honor, looking down on those who are asleep. It is the mind that accumulates spiritual experiences and uses them to build a more impressive, more enlightened ego. This is not freedom. This is the ego dressed in spiritual robes, a more insidious prison than the ordinary, worldly ego. Alan Watts was a master at spotting this trap. He saw that in the West, we have a consumerist mentality. We approach spirituality as another thing to achieve. We want to get enlightenment, to acquire peace. But the very verbs get and acquire are the language of the ego. They reinforce the sense of a separate self that is lacking something. The person who is listening to this must be brutally honest. Are you listening to these words hoping to add a new concept to your spiritual arsenal? Are you seeking to become a person who understands Alan Watts? If so, you have missed the point. You are decorating your prison cell with beautiful posters of freedom. The ego is using the message of no ego to reinforce its own existence. The great irony is that there is nothing to achieve. Enlightenment is not an achievement. It is a realization of what has always been the case. You are already what you are seeking. The peace you want is the very awareness that is reading these words. You cannot become the ocean because you already are the ocean. Any movement to become, it is just the ocean, making a wave that says, "I wish I were the ocean." So what is to be done? Alan Watts suggested a shift in attitude. Practice meditation not to get peace, but because it is a peaceful thing to do. Inquire into the self not to find an answer, but out of sheer curiosity. Let your spiritual life be a dance, not a drill. Let it be about enjoyment, not attainment. Directly address the listener now. Feel the subtle tension of wanting to get this. Feel the striving. Now, just let it go. There is no prize at the end of this book. There is no enlightened person you are supposed to become. This entire journey is about the dissolution of the seeker, not its success. The moment you truly understand that you are not going anywhere, the seeking collapses. And in that beautiful, ordinary moment, what is left is what you have always been. Chapter 6. The Wisdom of Not Knowing. In a world that worships certainty, the most profound wisdom often appears as its opposite. It looks like not knowing. We are terrified of not knowing. We fill our heads with facts and beliefs to protect ourselves from the vast, unsettling mystery of being alive. We want a guaranteed set of instructions for life. But what if this desperate grasp for certainty is the very thing that keeps us from the truth? Alan Watts suggested that the beginning of real wisdom is the sincere confession of our own ignorance. Not a dumb ignorance, but a vibrant, open, receptive not knowing. The Chinese Taoists call this Wu Wei, the action of non-action. It starts with emptying your cup. He told a famous story. A learned man went to a Zen master. The master poured tea for his visitor. He poured, and he poured, and when the cup was full, he kept on pouring. "Stop," cried the scholar. "The cup is full. It can hold no more." The master replied, "Just so. You are like this cup, full of your own opinions and knowledge. How can I show you Zen unless you first empty your cup?" The person listening to this, your cup is likely very full. It is full of what you learned in school, what society expects of you, what your past experiences have conditioned you to believe. This cup is the known, it is the past. And you are trying to use this dust to understand the living, breathing reality of this present moment. It is impossible. The wisdom of not knowing is a state of profound openness. It is the willingness to meet each moment fresh, without the filter of past conditioning. It is to look at a flower as if you have never seen one before. It is to listen to a loved one as if you are hearing their voice for the first time. Let me speak to you directly. Your mind is a wonderful servant, but a terrible master. It is a tool for navigating the practical world, but it is completely unequipped to answer the ultimate questions of life. When you ask your mind, "What is the meaning of life?" it will give you a second-hand answer. It cannot give you the living truth. The living truth can only be experienced when the mind is quiet, when it admits, "I do not know." In that "I do not know," a miracle happens. And what rushes in is not ignorance, but a direct, wordless perception of reality as it is. This is intelligence itself, far superior to knowledge. It is the intelligence that grows the trees and spins the galaxies. It can only speak to you when you are silent. It can only guide you when you relinquish the illusion of being the guide. This is the great paradox Alan Watts unveiled. The person who is certain is lost. The person who admits they are lost is beginning to find their way. So, empty your cup. Admit you do not know. Embrace that not knowing. It is not a void. It is a womb. It is the fertile ground from which all true creativity, love, and understanding grows. Chapter 7. The Artist of Reality. Imagine reality is a vast, infinite canvas. Now, who is the artist? Conventional wisdom tells you you are a passive observer. You were born into the painting. You walk through it, and one day you will be removed. You are a tourist in the art gallery of existence. But what if this is wrong? What if you are not the tourist, but the artist? And not only the artist, but the painting itself? Alan Watts proposed this breathtaking view. You are not a mere result of the universe. You are an act of the universe. You are a function through which the cosmos expresses itself, knows itself, and creates itself. The thoughts in your mind, the feelings in your body, the actions you take, these are not merely your private possessions. They are the universe, thinking, feeling, and acting through you. As you think of your own body, you did not decide how to grow it. You did not instruct your heart to beat. A profound, unconscious intelligence is doing that. Its intelligence is not yours in the personal sense. It is the same intelligence that orchestrates the dance of the atoms and the orbits of the planets. You are that intelligence, operating a particular biological vehicle. Now, extend this to your entire life. The events that unfold, the people you meet, the challenges you face, they are not random happenstances. They are the dynamic, creative expressions of the whole universe, appearing in your field of experience. You are not a victim of the painting. You are the brushstroke. And because you are the awareness that witnesses it all, you are also the painter. The person listening to this may feel awe and confusion. If I am the artist, why do I paint such suffering? This is the mystery of the artist. A great painter needs shadow to define the light. A great composer needs dissonance to make the resolution sweet. The drama of life requires contrast. The universe, through you, is exploring the full spectrum of experience. It is all part of the art. Directly address the listener now. Try on this perspective today. As you go about your day, feel yourself as the artist of your reality, not in a controlling way, but in a playful way. When you feel frustration, see it as a bold, dark color you are adding to the canvas. When you feel joy, see it as a splash of gold. You are not a passenger on a bus called life. You are the driver, the bus, the road, and the landscape, all at once. This realization carries immense responsibility and immense freedom. The responsibility is to engage fully. The freedom is the knowledge that there is no separate judge grading your painting. The painting is for its own sake. It is divine play. You are the universe, artistically expressing itself as you. Chapter 8. The Music of the Spheres. Where does your life actually happen? You may say it happens in the past or the future. But is that true? Can you actually touch the past? Can you inhabit the future? There is only one place where experience is ever real. Now. There is only one time. Here. This is not a spiritual cliché. It is the most concrete fact of your existence. Yet, the human mind is designed to avoid it. We are time travelers, leaping backward into regret or forward into anxiety. We are like a radio permanently tuned to the symphony of yesterday and tomorrow, missing the majestic music of the spheres playing in the eternal present. This is the music of what is. Alan Watts was a masterful guide to the eternal now. He did not see it as a single, static moment. He saw it as a pulsating, flowing, ever-novel process. The word now refers to the vibrant aliveness of this immediate experience. The feeling of your breath, the sound around you. This is it. This is the only reality there ever is. The person who is listening to this is almost certainly not here, now. You are thinking about what these words mean. You are comparing them to other things you have read. You are, in short, everywhere but here. This is the human condition, a habit of abstraction. We prefer the map to the territory. We prefer the menu to the meal. But why is the now so important? Because it is the only place where life can be lived. It is the only place where joy can be felt and love can be shared. All of your problems are phantoms of time. A problem from the past is a ghost. A problem from the future is a shadow. When you bring your attention fully into the now, the weight of these phantoms dissolves. What problem do you have right now? In this moment, you are likely safe and breathing. Any problem is a story being told in the now. Let me speak to you directly. Perform a simple experiment. For just 60 seconds, let go of the past and future. There is nothing to remember or plan. Bring your attention to your senses. Feel the weight of your body. Notice the air on your skin. Listen to the most subtle sound. Do not try to change anything. Just be the silent, open space in which all of this is happening. What did you notice? For a moment, the noisy mind quieted. In that space, what was here? Was there not a simple, peaceful, aware presence? That presence is what you are. It is the eternal now itself. It has no age, no problems. It is the screen on which the movie of your life is projected. Alan Watts tried to tell us we are not the movie. We are the screen. His screen is always present, still, and utterly untouched by the drama. Tuning into the eternal now is a continuous, gentle returning. It is the art of remembering to listen to the music of the spheres. It is realizing you are not in the river of time. You are the riverbank, the silent witness to the flow. And in that, you find a peace that does not depend on what happens in the movie. You find the timeless home you have been searching for. Chapter 9. The Final Secret. We have come to the end of our journey together. We have explored the cosmic joke, the weight of the false self, and the trap of spirituality. We have tuned into the music of the eternal now, and now we arrive at the final secret. The secret that contains all the others. The secret that, when truly understood, ends the search forever. The secret is this: there is nothing to find and nowhere to go. After all these words, all these concepts, the destination was right where you started. The treasure was buried in the one place you never thought to look. The one who is looking. The treasure was looking. The concepts, the one place. The treasure was looking. You have been seeking yourself. The seeker is the sought. This can feel like a letdown to the mind that loves a grand finale. It wants to find a shining jewel, a final state of perfection. But that is just the ego, hoping for one last acquisition. The truth does not come as a shining jewel. It comes as the simple, obvious reality that was here before the seeking began. The sound of the rain, the feeling of the chair, the awareness, reading these words. This is it. This is what all the fuss is about. Alan Watts did not want to make you a successful seeker. He wanted to end your seeking. He wanted you to see that the separate self is a mirage. When you see the mirage is not real, you stop running towards it. And when you stop running, you realize you were always home. You were always the ocean. Blissfully unaware you were pretending to be a worried wave. The person who is finishing this book is not the same person who started it. That person was full of questions and longing. That person was the seeker. If you have truly listened, you may feel that seeker dissolving. It is being replaced by a simple, open, and ordinary awareness. An awareness that is no longer trying to become something else. So, what happens now? You live exactly as you did before, but from a completely different context. You will still go to work and face challenges, but you will do it as the dance, not the dancer. As the painting, not the painter. The weight of being the separate controller of the universe will have lifted. You will engage with a light touch and a deep trust in the process. You will understand the path is not about getting somewhere else. It is about walking, and realizing the walking itself is the goal. Every step is the arrival. The sacred is not hidden within the profane. The profane is the sacred when seen with eyes of wonder. Directly address the listener now for the final time. You, the one hearing my voice. There is nothing you need to do. There is nothing you need to become. The peace you seek is the peace you are. The love you long for is the love you express. You are not a soul having a human experience. You are the universe having a human experience. The search is over, not because you have found the answer, but because you have realized there was never a question in the first place. You are home. You have always been home. Alan Watts tried to tell us. And now, Finally, you have heard.